And welcome, everybody, to the Maze of Thoughts. Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome to the Maze of Thoughts. Once again, another weekend, and we are back with the Halloween Special Edition Part 2. Hello, everybody. How are you doing, Dice and Misnomer?
I'm doing good. Hello.
So, again, that was kind of like, like, how are you really doing?
Well, I'm excited because once again, like I mentioned in the last episode, that it's October. It's starting to feel like fall outside, and it's the month of Halloween.
Dice?
I have to agree. As the days get closer to the 31st, I only get more excited for Halloween night.
Alrighty then. Okay, so before heading into the actual content, allow us to inform on our social media presence. Last episode I said inform us, and it's not inform us, it's inform you, the listener. Anyways, if you'd like to interact with us, comment on our episodes, or just chat with us, our Twitter is @MazePodcast. Our Facebook can be found at facebook.com/MazeThoughtspodcast, and you can pretty much do the exact same thing as you do on Twitter. For the direct interaction with us and cool extras as we like to share music, news, videos, and such, join our Discord at discord.me/MOTpodcast. Plus, if you are into video games or just want to socialize, you can use the voice channels as well. Oh, and you are also eligible to participate in our episodes. For pictures and promotional content, check out our Instagram at instagram.com/MazeThoughtspodcast. And then last but not least, to support us directly, you can give our Patreon a look at patreon.com/MazeThoughtspodcast. Wait. No, it's not podcast. It's just Maze of Thoughts, where you can be subscribed to it for a monthly fee and get some exclusive content in there, such as bloopers, extra bits that are not in the final podcast, among others. So take your preferred form of social networking and come say hi to us. We do not bite much, I think. I am only responsible for myself.
I was going to say, speak for yourself.
All right. Today, there's the deal that I want to talk about. And this is a topic that we can stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch for a little bit. But I want to talk about horror stuff, and especially what are your fears, what makes you, unsettled, what makes you what gives you goosebumps and stuff like that.
Oh, let me start. I want to start. So I've found that when I watch scary movies or just weird videos in general, I hate it when people make jerky movements. Like they can't control their bodies and their limbs are kind of twisted a weird way and they twitch a lot. I can't stand that mess. I don't know why. It just really, really freaks me out. It makes me want to hit something.
You must have really enjoyed The Exorcist then.
Oh, see, The Exorcist wasn't that bad, actually, because it wasn't as jerky as, I guess what the heck is it called? The Grudge. That would be one.
And she's, crawling and stuff, and her arms are all, twisted.
Is that the one with the chick that comes out of the fucking well?
No, that's The Ring. But The Grudge is the one with the girl who comes out of, the closet. And she crawls down the steps, and her limbs are all cracky, and she's like...
I remember.
Have you seen the Japanese version
that.
of it?
Yeah, it was like a fucking big-ass spider.
Yes, I hate that.
Dice?
What really scares me is the whole, psychopath trope. and like having someone like stalk you or like follow you around and you not knowing, like that freaks me out. So every time I see movies about that, I always get really paranoid about going outside.
Oh my god, that's such a rational fear.
And it's horrible because it's something that could actually happen. So it's not like some scary monster. It's like anyone can do it, you know?
Oh my god. I actually find that to be intriguing, as weird as it sounds. Like when I hear about like scary stories that people tell about having a secret admirer that won't leave them alone, I find it to be interesting. I'm like, wow, how far is this person willing to go? I kind of want to know. What? Tell me the depths of your devotion. Show me
that reminds me of what we were talking about earlier when we were saying how Japan utilizes the trope of yandere so much, and like, is that something that commonly happens in Japan? Like, is that based in reality, or is that just something they made up and then people like they copied it and like used it in their everyday life, or was it like based off of like something that was already going on over there?
Oh man, see, now that you say that, that is a trope that shows up pretty frequently in Japanese anime and manga, where you have a character, specifically like a woman or something, who's obsessed with a dude, and then she's tries to be really nice to him, and he's like, yeah, I don't know that you exist at all. And then she slowly kind of descends into madness as she tries harder and harder to prove her love for him, and he's just like, what the hell is going on? Oh my god, that's so weird. I mean, it's weird, but it's also very fascinating from a psychological perspective.
Right. I am kind of struggling to a certain extent with what really fucking spooks me. I don't really get spooked that much anymore. I used to when I was younger. Nowadays, I just don't give a fuck anymore. I just, things like monsters, they don't exist. Stalkers? Come on, dude. Really?
Really? They do exist. Stalkers are real.
Not for me, though. Not for me. If someone stalks me, they better fucking be prepared to get a fucking train on them. But yeah, like, I don't know. I guess I like things kind of like the Outlast game, where it doesn't necessarily spook me, but I like what it sort of tells you. And it's something that I don't know, it could actually happen. Like, I like the fact that they went with the effort of actually trying to make it something that could be realistic, where, like, Outlast 2 completely fucking, they just lost their minds and just like, well, fuck it, dude, let's just, like, make things scary and shit. But Outlast, the first game, they went with sort of like that whole laboratory. You get to know the laboratory and you get to know more in detail about it when you play Whistleblower DLC. But the whole laboratory deal with then there's the ghost that was kind of created in that laboratory. I like that. I liked it. It's for us casual human beings that live an everyday life, going outside or not, but that, you know, basically we see things that are normal for the most part. We don't really know what's going on inside of those laboratories. We don't know a lot of things that are happening under our noses, and you know what I mean? And things like that could happen. I don't think they would create a ghost, but they could create, I don't know, fucking like some mentally unstable dude that would be like a zombie, sort of. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, for like a month, my school was, my pre-law school that I went to for a while was located right next to a psychiatric ward, and no one knew about it until like someone pointed it out. So it's like, you never really know what's going on around you or like what could happen in places like that.
My God. Like it's really weird to know that people are doing, or the possibility that there are experiments happening right under your nose. And it's sad to say that things like that could easily be covered up by like a bureaucratic system of some kind, because back in like the 1800s, insane asylums were not the best place to be. They're not good today either, but they were worse then. So when I think back to the conditions of how people were treated back then and now, it's really not that much better. I can see that being a really plausible situation.
It is kind of Like, for example, there was H1Z1, which was kind of a game created under this sort of, I don't know, like idea of a virus that would make zombies, that would create zombies. Because what was the fucking term for that whole? There was a whole virus going on. There was kind of something like that, and then
H1N1.
Exactly. And there was that virus, and then H1Z1 was kind of like the sort of a spin-off or some shit or whatever the fuck for that. It's interesting, because you never know. And if you play Plague Inc., it's it gives you a whole different perspective of like viruses of evolution and stuff like that. It's interesting.
So it's funny because that we're talking about zombie-related things, where on the National Geographic website, they have, it's called Meet 5 Zombie Parasites that mind control their hosts. And it's really weird because the zombie trope isn't as far-fetched as we would think. It might not happen the way we kind of imagine it, but they're saying things like zombified cockroaches. So like when a female jewel wasp is ready to procreate, she finds a cockroach to serve as a living nursery for her young. So she injects like a toxin into the roach and paralyzes the front legs. Then the wasp strikes at the roach's head. And like the venom kind of targets a specific area of the brain that's responsible for initiating movement. So when the roach is stripped of its free will, the cockroach can be grabbed by the antennas and guided to a burrow where the wasp can lay her eggs inside the victim and then entomb them together. So when the larvae are born, they consume the cockroach over several days before pupating in the abdomen and then emerging as an adult a month later.
Wow.
So it's like, what? That the idea of zombies seems like it originated in nature and then was kind of taken by people and made into a sci-fi kind of idea. It's really fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, I still have many peas with zombies. Like, how the fuck do zombies not get scared when they're portrayed in movies and games? Like, they don't get not scared, tired. How do they not get tired? Like, it's still the body of a human being, dude. Like, it's gotta get tired. I know the brain is practically dead, so they are, looking for meat and shit, but they never get tired. Like, what?
I appreciate when I see zombie shows that are like really like, I guess they take that into consideration, because I know in The Walking Dead they have it where if the zombies don't eat a human for a while, they start to decompose and like fall apart and like they lose strength.
Oh gosh, George Romero is like spinning in his grave with The Walking Dead. Fuck that show.
Yeah, it kind of fell apart after a while. What really
it's
scares
not a fucking zombie show. It's a fucking novel with zombies on it. It's like,
yeah,
come on, dude.
I mean, I liked it when it first began, but after a while it became more drama-centered rather than zombie-centered.
You liked it when it began because it was interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting. Then after a while it just became like a drama fest, and then every once in a while someone got bit by a zombie. I came for the zombies, and then it was just people arguing, so... what really scares me about, like, newer... Because, like, I really enjoy, like, the old-timey, like, rolling in the grave type zombies, but, like, what really scares me about, like, new age zombies is that like they make them so OP now. Like imagine the zombies from World War Z where they're sprinting at people and like they can open doors and break windows. I find that like way more scary.
Yeah, that's impossible.
Like, oh, that'd be like terrifying.
How would you? I mean, nah. Like insects don't do that. Insects will go through gaps and they'll look for the passages and stuff like that, but they don't just look for like clever ways of getting rid of the material things that we put in their face or whatever. So a brain dead person would not like just break glasses and shit like that. That's why new age zombies are fucking shit. Just
I mean, the only way I can see that ever happening is if it was like a medically made zombie or like genetically engineered, but I can't see it where like you just bite someone and suddenly they're able to like have superhuman strength or whatever. But I don't know. The whole running zombie thing and like super smart zombies is just a little creepy. Because like you wouldn't even have a
The
chance
deal
to get
with
away.
smart zombies, George Romero kind of went with that attempt at some point with I don't what was the movie? Night of the Dead, Land of the Dead, something of the Dead. It was either Night of the Dead or Land of the Dead. But there's a point when zombies start to get like sort of clever, and they realize they can go through the ocean or river or whatever it is between them, and they literally just go in there, and then they come out the other side, and then they start breaking the glass, like you said. But it's not New Age, because this is like a movie from, I don't know, like fucking, I don't think it's the 90s, but I think it's early 2000s. But it was kind of crazy. He said, so the zombies just go through the ocean and just
I always found it so
realizing
unrealistic though, because like, wouldn't they decompose in the ocean? Because there's salt and like the water's freezing. I don't know. I feel like maybe I just overanalyzed the movie, so it makes it less fun.
Well, it's what I do as well. I always do that shit. So, listen, it's not making it less fun. It's just, come on, man. It's like, don't. There are certain games in movies and series where it's like it doesn't make any fun. Like Superman versus. Wait, what? What was it? It's that. It's the Is it Superman versus It's the movie where there's like Doomsday, and then Superman and Batman fight, and Wonder Woman fight Doomsday. And there's some scene there where I think, if I remember correctly, the kryptonite deal staff thing or whatever the fuck it is that they're using is underwater, and Superman loses his strength because he's going against Batman, and Batman uses a kryptonite, and then at some point Superman has to go grab the fucking kryptonite staff or whatever the fuck it's so stupid. So if you lose your strength with the kryptonite and you are basically unconscious because of that shit, and then you fly and you grab the fucking staff to take it to Doomsday, it's like, what the fuck, man? How does that make any sense? And you're unconscious, but all of a sudden you wake up and you fucking grab the thing that made you unconscious and you take it, and you're super strong again out of nowhere. Like, come on, dude, what the fuck? That movie was so bad. That movie was fucking trash.
That's why I stopped watching it after the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. Anyways, about horror, like, for example, again, as I said, this is a topic that we can keep stretching on. But we talked about things that scare us or could possibly scare us. What about horror games that you've played? I talked about Outlast, but I can talk about a few others. But like horror games that kind of scared you. And it doesn't have to be necessarily like, you know, a horror game, like specifically horror game. It could be, for example, I can give the example of Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2, which was, it wasn't that jump scare type thing. It was more like a panic thing where you just turn somewhere. You get scared a little bit because you're not expecting it, but going through dark rooms, and you have all the light that you have is that little flashlight that just basically puts a little light on a little cone in front of your face, and you turn back, or you just turn to the left or the right, and there's like a fucking monster or a fucking witch or some shit like that. And it's like, if you do anything to her or you get too close to her, she just gets up and starts running after you. You know, she's like, whoa, dude, get out of here. She's OP as fuck too. But yeah, there's like a bunch of games that really make you unsettled. Like, what do you think about that? What sort of games did you play that really unsettled you?
I think the first experience I had with like a quote unquote horror game, I think it was Left 4 Dead, like the very first one. I remember being very young and I played it with my brother, and like I begged him for like weeks to let me play with him, and he always told me I was never good enough. So the first time he ever let me play, we were playing and he disconnects his controller and he says, "You have to kill all of them by yourself." And I didn't know how to play the game, and I just watched all the zombies attack me. It was like the most traumatic experience ever. I mean, of course I'm okay now and I play horror games up the ass, but still.
Oh my god.
It's like such a brother thing to do, isn't it?
It really is. Like, that's rude. He could have at least said, okay, so this is, like, sat there and said, okay, so this is how you block, this is how you shoot, this is how you run. Because that's really all you need, initially, is just to get away, dodge, and then kill things. But, oh my god, I would have hated that. One game that really, like, kind of scarred my brother and I was System Shock 2 for PC. And we played this back on, like, Windows 97. So we didn't know how to play. We didn't know what the heck was going on. But apparently you're on, like, the space station. And the space station, each person on the space station gets assigned a different role based on, like, their skill sets. So your main character wakes up on the particular space station, and it's been overrun. Like, it's damaged and just everyone's dead. And you kind of have to try to escape the space station. But it turns out that the master computer has taken over and zombified the crewmates of the ship, and you have to kill them and secure stuff, and oh my god. So we would come around the corner, and then you would hear this voice coming from another room, and it's like, we are Riki. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And we didn't realize until later on that it was actually the crewmates that were infected by the computer.
Is that POD's song?
Huh?
We are. Euthanasia.
No, it wasn't that, but they were so creepy. And you're only equipped with a freaking, like, tire iron or a wrench. So you have to go against these things that are, like, trying to beat the crap out of you with just that. And sometimes if you don't hit them hard enough, they don't die. So they get back up and attack you when you're not paying attention. So it was traumatizing for us that we would just run and hide in other rooms. And it would take us forever to get past a certain level because we were trying to dodge all these creepy creature things. Ugh.
Right. I think I have that from Twitch Prime, and I think I'll have a go at some point. A game that is in my memory in terms of, like, horror shit, and it's not just because of the horror deal, but it's mainly because of the opportunities that the game gave me. Because I basically started my band because of that game. But it's Eternal Damnation. It is a modification for Postal 2. So it's using the engine for Postal 2. But the studios basically redid the whole thing with their own scenarios, their own story, their own creatures. Everything is from that studio. Like, they literally basically remade Postal into a horror game. And the game is creepy as fuck. The game is legitimately unsettling because the progression of the game was like something fucking weird. So basically, you are playing this guy. I forgot his name, but you're playing this guy that basically sees, I don't know if they're boyfriend and girlfriend. I think they become boyfriend and girlfriend afterwards. But at the beginning, basically he sees a girl sort of about to get abused in an alley by a random ass guy, and he goes there. He he uses a shovel because it's the iconic shoveling from Postal 2, and he uses a shovel to basically just take the head off that guy that was about to abuse the girl, and he gets thrown into an asylum for that. The Happy Hill Asylum. It's a very funny name for an asylum. Happy Hill. Yay. Basically, then the game starts having very weird events, and while you're at the asylum, you start seeing things, and everybody in the asylum start running off and doing all kinds of crazy shit. What do you call the people that are sort of like in the asylum, like the patients? Is it patients or something else?
They would be considered patients.
Okay. So basically the patients are just running everywhere, fucking using meat cleavers against the nurses or whatever you call them. And it's just like a fucking shit show. And then the game progresses and gets even weirder because people start becoming zombies out of nowhere. And then there's a fucking level in the game where you meet up with your girlfriend, and guess what? Your girlfriend is a goth girl. It's a goth girl. And you go to her apartment, and she has a bunch of fucking ritual shit, like pentagrams all over the place, goth metal fucking posters on the walls, fucking sacrificial knives and shit like that, candles all over the place. And then, like, you go to a carnival, and you start seeing clowns that come at you. Fucking, I don't remember correctly. I think there's babies as well and shit like that. It's a really fucking weird experience. And then there's a priest that apparently also abused the girl. So basically, she's your girlfriend now, and she basically summons Satan himself. And Satan is the one causing all of that fucking shit show to happen all over the place. Like zombies, demons, and clowns coming out of the ground and all that shit. And then eventually at some point you go kill this priest, you kill Satan. But this was... Again, it was a shit show, but it had some comedy to it as well, so it was kind of like cool to play through those comedic moments. There's killer pigeons in that game, just like what? It's just a complete fucking shit show, but I loved it. I suggest to anybody out there that has Postal 2 on Steam, if you can get Eternal Damnation, it might still be available for free on one of those mod databases. So get it, install it, try to play it. I can guarantee you it's going to be an interesting experience, to say the least. Again, the graphics are Postal 2 graphics, but hey, who cares about that when you have a good content game? You know, like good audio, good actual plot to it and stuff like that. It's really, really cool.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to look that up. Is it on? You said it's on Steam?
No, Postal 2 is on Steam, so you have to have Postal 2 because it's a modification. Oh. And then you need to download, I think, from one of those, again, mod databases. I think there's one called moddb.com or something else. And you just download it, you install it, and you try it out.
All right. I'm adding that to my queue.
And basically, that game gives me so many memories, and I say that it's one of the games that I remember the most because of the opportunities that it gave me, because the guy that composed the soundtrack for that game, so again, any of you playing the game, if you hear the soundtracks and you like it, that guy, I contacted, being my naive, little young, 16-year-old me, I contacted the guy, basically saying, hey dude, I'm a vocalist for death metal and I'll listen to your soundtrack playing Eternal Damnation and I'll love it. And this is kind of the type of music that I would love to be playing or to be doing vocals for. So would you be interested in doing like a duo thing where you compose the music and I put vocals into it? And he accepted, and we did some things. We did like 2 songs, but I think only one is available at this point. On MySpace, yes, MySpace is still a thing. Yeah, but it was interesting. Like, again, the game is really messed up. Really fucking messed up. So that you have an idea, the way you get out of the asylum is with a meat cleaver and a bunch of nurses or people that take care of the asylum.
Oh. I mean, do they help you, or are you using them as, like, human meat shields?
No, you're just fucking kill them with the meat cleaver.
Oh. Oh. Alrighty then.
Yeah, you basically dismember all of them.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, because they're the ones trying to keep you in there.
Yeah, they're just trying to kill you as well. You know? It's like nobody can leave the fucking asylum. So they just try to kill you as well with pistols and shit. So you go in with a meat cleaver and you just hack away.
Wow. Well, I can understand. I mean, if it's a mod for Postal, I can completely understand that dynamic.
Yep.
Oh my god.
You probably remember how you could dismember people on Postal 2. Well, I mean, it's not that graphic. Basically, you can just hack off their legs, or you can just get their heads off their bodies and hack off their limbs and their arms and shit like that. So it's kind of like that, you know. You just you just have like a funny ass looking torso hanging around and the leg across the room and stuff like that. But again, nowadays, that's the thing. Nowadays, games have evolved so much that it's kind of like, if you look at that shit, it's kind of like, it doesn't really look that scary, just looks funny and shit. But imagine Postal 2 with, like, the graphics of today. It would be something awesome, dude.
It would be brutal.
I'd love it. Running with scissors, if you're still alive somewhere in the world, if you guys are still alive, please make it happen. Or some other fucking company, dude, because Postal 3 is dog shit. Postal 3 is complete fucking dog shit. Postal 2 was like the chicken with the golden eggs for that company. And just remake it, man. Just remake Postal 2 with the graphics of nowadays, use Unreal Engine 4, and just go for that shit, because that game was fucking amazing.
My God, that kind of reminds me, well, not really, but when you were talking about like torsos and limbs flying all over the place, it kind of reminds me of Amnesia, The Dark Descent, and how a lot of I think, was that made on the Unreal Engine?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense. The graphics look pretty similar. But there's different parts where you're kind of running around and you're picking up body parts and throwing them around and stuff. So the physics made me laugh, because you'll just have a torso and you'll toss it and it'll just bounce around the room. So that's what that made me think of.
No, Amnesia is not made with Unreal Engine. It's made with HPL Engine.
Oh.
It was... Apparently, HPL is the name given to the in-house cross-platform 3D game engine that empowers the games released by Frictional Games. So, the company that developed, basically, Amnesia. My thoughts on Amnesia is, I haven't completed the game because I think I've mentioned that before here, that I just basically want to do it at some point when I can stream it, because I started playing the game on stream. So I feel like if I'm gonna play the game by myself and then I'm gonna try to stream it basically from where I was, it's not gonna look as surprising or as good as it used to, or as it does when it's the first time you're seeing things and the events that happen through that. So yeah, but again, it's one of those things, like, I saw a dude, because I already played the game until to a certain point, I saw a dude play it a few days ago, and I wanted to punch the guy in the head. I wanted to punch the guy in the face. Like, there's a part in the fucking game where you have a lever that's stuck, and there's a rope that leads you to where it's stuck, and you have to look for it. And this guy is sprinting throughout the fucking game. When you started, it literally says, this is not a game about winning, it's a game about getting immersed into the environment and getting immersed into the story. And he wanted to fucking speedrun the game. He was always sprinting and shit like that. And it was just like bothering me so much. And he was looking at that shit. He was just like trying all kinds of stupid ass shit to fucking unstuck that lever. When it was so easy to just look up, look patiently, and look like with intelligence. You're just like, come on, man. Come on. It's so fucking obvious. I don't know. It's just like, when I see people trying to speedrun a horror game, it's like, come on, dude. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I don't think horror games are really meant to be speedrun. I think speedrunning games should be exclusively for platformers or side scrollers, because you're not there to immerse yourself in the story of their character development. You're there to, beat the levels. So now,
exactly.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And anyone who makes horror games to be won is doing a bad job at making games.
Exactly.
Horror games, that is.
You're not supposed to essentially win story-driven games.
Exactly.
You're supposed to play it, experience it, and then have replay value so that you can do it again. Like, I can't.
Oh, and there's apparently there's a game that I still have to play at some point, but apparently there's another game from Frictional that uses HPL3, which is the third version of the HPL engine, that is used for the game Soma.
Oh.
Which is actually one of the games that came with Twitch Prime this month. So if you had that opportunity to get that game, good. And I actually saw, I think it was Soda Poppin playing Soma on Twitch. And it's a pretty interesting game, actually. It's an actually pretty interesting game. Or maybe I'm mistaken. I might be wrong. Shit, I think Soma is also very interesting, but I think the game that I think it's Observer.
Okay, yeah, I have to get back onto, like my horror game grind, or gaming grind in general. I've kind of dropped off, so I'm just looking for new games to play. I know We Happy Few is a game that I want to play, but unfortunately, it's still on the higher end. I'm waiting for it to become discounted so I can play it easier.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that game, and it seems interesting, to say the least. Alright, so I'm on the Wikipedia for Observer, and this game, I did not get the chance to play it at the time, hoping that someday I get to play this. Yeah, this is the game that I saw Soda Poppin play, not Soma. But I think Soma is also very interesting, actually, because it's kind of like futuristic and modern and shit like that. So, and it's kind of like a psychological horror as well. But Observer is a psychological horror video game developed by Bloober Team and published by Asper. It was released for Microsoft. Observer follows Daniel Lazarski, a detective known as the Observer, who can hack people's minds as a method of interrogation and employ augmented vision to investigate his surroundings. This is done by the people that did Layers of Fear, so you can tell that it's good.
All right, adding it to the queue.
And then for the synopsis, it says, Observer is set in 2084 Krakow, Poland, after the nanophage, a digital plague that cost the lives of thousands, resulting in war and rampant drug use. After Chiron, a mega corporation took control of Poland and manifested the Fifth Polish Republic, a police unit known as Observers was put in control of the denizens with license to hack their minds. Drug and hologram addicts were made Class C and cast off to live in tenement buildings. So basically, again, see, this is a story that could happen. Like, this could happen in the future. This is modern. It's like technology stuff. This could literally fucking happen in the future. I could see this happening. Like, you got police force that if something happens, they are allowed to like hack into your mind and see if you did something bad, and they can like reconstruct something happening. I can see this happening, and it's interesting as fuck, honestly.
I'm looking for like a story that has kind of like a newer concept. Because
what?
I said I'm looking for stories that have a newer concept. Like
technology new, or like out of the blue,
like
never thought of before.
Yeah, like something that hasn't been thought of. Because I feel like a lot of these games and stories are recycling old stories and just adding maybe a new element to it, but it's the same story. So I'm looking for something that is different. Indie game.
I think that's kind of why like the indie like sci-fi horror is getting a lot more popular, because it's new. You know, adding in stuff like creepy robots or like augmented reality and stuff. Like that's more like, I don't know, newer things, as well as like in the realm of reality in the future. So I guess that's the kind of closest you can get to like newer horror.
I can see that. Like, you know how whatchamacallit? You know how people have been talking about this show called Black Mirror?
Oh yeah,
and how it kind of highlights a lot of the sci-fi and horror in like technology, and how it's slowly creeping into our lives. It's kind of like the Twilight Zone of 2018.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
And I understand that. I haven't seen the show yet, but people keep telling me that it's fantastic. So I'm looking into that, and I want to see if that has what I'm looking for as far as new stories, because technology is fairly new, I think. Yeah, it's fairly new. It's something that our generation is really immersed in. And older generations are kind of being phased out. Like, I can't tell you how many people over the age of, I guess I'll say 45, I have to teach how to use a smartphone. Like, it's funny. It's interesting. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you can keep going. Oh, me? Ooh, okay. I mean, personally, I'm not a big Black Mirror fan. I like the Twilight Zone. I'm more into like classic horror, I suppose. But I really like how it kind of steers towards like a more younger audience. It's like really interesting to hear people I wouldn't usually see talking about horror, talking about it. So I think it's a good way to get more people involved in the horror genre.
Okay.
Relatable.
Apollyon, have you seen Black Mirror yet?
Is that a series?
Yes.
No, I haven't.
Okay, I think it's on Netflix right now.
Yeah, I do not have Netflix.
Okay.
I do have alternative ways of watching those type of things. I might get to it eventually at some point.
Yeah,
but yeah, I haven't watched it yet. What is it about?
It's basically different stories. From what I understand, it's different stories explaining how technology is kind of taking over. Like the idea and using like whatchamacallit, like in China, they're trying to implement this facial recognition technology in public spaces to kind of rate people based on how good of a citizen they are. Yep. And Black Mirror had an episode about that where people can give you likes or dislikes.
Yeah, we already talked about that, where there was like what was it called? Shit, man. It was the Seth MacFarlane series. I forgot the name of it. What?
Oh, Orville.
Orville, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There's a Black Mirror episode like that too.
Yeah, exactly. That's interesting. But again, I don't know. It's governments and things like that. They can only do so much if people allow it to be implemented. Because who the fuck pays the government? People. Who the fuck basically has the most power out of everything? The people. The people have the power. So people, if you want things changed, if you want change in the world, in the country where you live, you have to fucking do something about it. Otherwise, nothing's gonna change. If you're gonna live your life normally, just working, getting money, getting food on the table, and that's pretty much it, nothing's ever gonna fucking change, and the government is gonna keep on corrupting you, and they're gonna keep on, apologize my French, fucking you in the ass, and that's pretty much it. If you need change, then make it happen. It only depends on you and not the government. It depends on you to say, we want this changed.
That's right. Make sure you register to vote.
Oh, yeah, definitely. November 6th. November 6th.
Oh, is that the latest?
No, that is voting day.
Okay,
Election.
Is it the 26th? That's the latest?
October? I think so, depending on where you are. Like,
okay,
I
already registered.
Mm-hmm.
This is my first
so
year
on that
voting.
note, for example, on the note of voting and everything, you, as Americans, you probably saw this whole deal at some point with Brazil and their elections.
Yes, we have.
Right. So you know the guy that was running for that, Bolsonaro, it's basically a dictator piece of shit who's a racist, a homophobe, what's the difference of Democrat? Republican?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, yeah, he's basically a fucking piece of shit person who got rich by, I don't really know the story. I'm going with what I've been reading on Facebook, and but basically it's like people are considering him to be the Trump of Brazil, basically, because he's a piece of shit. So what do you think?
When do you guys have elections, or is that
hurts?
Like, vote him out of, like, when are you guys' elections? Or is it kind of just
what, for Portugal?
Yeah.
I have no fucking idea. I mean, listen, we're not in bad sheets right now in terms of presidents. There's actually there was actually a video. Hold on, you can keep talking while I'll look for this.
Basically, when I think about what's happening in America, it makes my skin crawl. Especially what happened recently with the Supreme Court. Don't like it. I'm not happy about it. And I hate the fact that because we're in a democracy, majority rules. So apparently, with this whole Kavanaugh situation, 56% of women wanted him to be a part of the Supreme Court. That's scary. Really, really scary. Considering
the same 56 who wanted Donald Trump to be president.
I'm telling you, I think they're just recycling the numbers because that you'd think after the past couple of years that we've had, people's opinions would change and the numbers wouldn't stay the same. But here we are. So that's the problem with the democracy, is sometimes you have to be sure that it is actually the majority that's speaking and not the majority that has power.
It sucks though, because I always tell everyone to vote, but I know not everyone has the opportunity to vote, because I know a lot of areas where there's like a high population of minority people, they've taken out so many voting booths and they moved them to towns that are an hour or two away to make it harder for people of color or people of lower income to vote. So it's really
there are a lot of oh my gosh, there are a lot of barriers being placed. They started they wanted to ask people for photo ID in order to vote. You don't need your photo identification if you have a voter's registration card. There's no need to show that. Why does that matter? Hey. There's a lot of plotting going on, in my opinion. And of course, this is just one person's opinion about what's going on. I'm not a political science major. I am not a politician. I am not involved in law in any sense. I'm merely giving my opinion on a situation based on observation and personal experience. But it's something that is deeply troubling because we are the people that have to take the brunt of what's happening. So knowing that someone like Brett Kavanaugh is on the Supreme Court, and that's a position that lasts their entire lifetime.
Yeah.
Once they're voted in, they get to stay there until they die. That's a lot of time for someone to make some pretty messed up decisions and not have them changed.
He's really young too. He's only 50 or 60, right?
So
he's going to be there for a while.
Yeah. We'll say, for the sake of argument, he's got a good years on the Supreme Court. And that's troubling because that's the highest court in America. Oh my goodness. A lot of things go through those courtrooms and are brought to their attention, and they have the final say on whether or not it gets passed along. And it's bad enough, we have a luxury tax on feminine products. Are you kidding me? That's a necessity. Why do we have to pay extra money for something that we need? I don't understand where, condoms are given out for free to people. It boggles my mind when I think of the inequality that comes along with certain decisions. And the fact that now we have to take into consideration even more so that we can't be taken at our word for things. We have to have proof for every single thing that happens. And even then, the possibility of not being taken seriously is still there. So it's I don't...
Well, and one example is when a bunch of boys came forward and said that they were molested within the church system. And they were automatically believed. But when women come forward and they talk about sexual assault, they are automatically questioned and told to show proof and stuff. No shade to
that's
no shade, but that's
it's really difficult to wrap my mind around that this is something that we still have to fight against even, I guess, 50 or so years after women's suffrage. Like, we fought so that we wouldn't have to deal with this kind of stuff anymore. And here we are being blasted back to, like, the 50s.
Fought then and we'll keep fighting now.
Damn right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the fight continues. We just have another time over.
Main point, everyone go to the polls and vote, please.
Please and thank you. Vote for your best
About that deal with women struggling. So there's been a thing here in Portugal. It's been like the fucking all over the place. But apparently there's this girl, woman, whatever, who has been accusing Cristiano Ronaldo of basically raping her. And the funny thing is that she was silent for 9 years because he gave her apparently 300,000 euros. But this whole story it's fucking weird. I'm not on the side of any of them because, again, listen, I get it. Women sometimes get some bullshit towards you thrown at you and shit. But you also have such ease on manipulating men that it's like, I don't know. This is, again, I'm not on anyone's side. I'm for equal rights as well, but it is one of those things. Like, she could very well be playing victim to get some money out of him. Where, again, then there's like two sides to this. There's the people that are like, oh, she's a fucking skank and she wants money. And then there's the other side is like, he's too powerful to be responsible for anything like this, and he's just gonna throw money away and he's gonna be able to afford this. But who's to blame? Who exactly is to blame?
From. Like, you don't want to.
Basically, she could manipulate him to take her with him to a bedroom. Dude, I don't know, just have... Apparently, he had anal sex with her and she didn't want it or whatever. But it's like, she could manipulate him to get him to the bedroom and have... Come on, dude. Like, I'm not gay, but listen, it's a dude that's athletic, has a shit ton of money, is one of the best soccer for you Americans or football players in the world. And it's just like, he's all over the fucking place. He has a bunch of clout, as the teens say nowadays. So, it's like, I mean, it's you can't say you wouldn't probably take that opportunity if you had the chance. Come on. If I was a girl, I would fucking take that opportunity. Absolutely.
I can see where you're coming from. Like, you don't want to accuse someone, because, you know, sexual assault's a really serious topic. You don't
this shit is all over the fucking place.
You don't want to wrongly
have
accuse
people
someone,
who are being accused that have
hand,
not done anything. Yeah. There was a band from Poland called Decapitated. They were accused of raping women that did not do it. They didn't do it, and it came to get clear. But again, they spent months in jail. This is a band that probably have never done anything that would get them thrown in jail. Like, what the fuck, man? This is a serious fucking matter, and this has to have some sort of like this. There has to be better solutions than just fuck. Because at some point we're gonna have fucking women accusing men of raping them all over the fucking place. There's a fucking like a little parody thing going on Facebook that is like a sort of you know, it's like, I consent to have sex with you know, X or Y, and I hereby sign that we had consent. Because, like, listen, what the fuck, man? This is fucking ridiculous. Like, we can't do anything without, oh shit, I listen, okay, are you sure that we can do this? Are you sure? Are you consenting to this? I mean, are you completely 100% certain that you are consenting to this? It's like, come on, dude, really? Fucking hell.
It's my kink when people ask me if I consent to stuff. Well, every time I do something with someone, I always make sure it's okay, like, and I expect for them to do the same for me. Like, before you move on to something else, be like, are you chill with this? Is this okay? And I mean, like, for the most part, if you're with someone who you're like, you're familiar with or you're cool with, like, it's like not a big deal. Maybe it's just
So
as
this kinda
younger
goes
kids
back-
who are like used to the idea of like asking about that, because like something like that's like totally normal. Like that's like what's expected, or at least that's what I've been taught.
So that kind of goes back to a conversation we had a couple of episodes ago about just being clear in your intentions with things. Remember we were talking about the situation about being in a bar and having a lady that you find pretty attractive, and you approach her and say, hey, I think you're really cool. Can I buy you a drink? You know, talk to you a little bit. And then she'll say yay or nay, and then the evening will continue that way.
Yes, but she can say yay, and you go do it, and she can fucking blame you for raping her.
So this is where
that is the stupid part of it. That is what's not good. That's what's wrong with this shit.
And this is the problem with that is how we conduct the investigations following that. Because bottom line, people lie all the time over the dumbest things. And unfortunately, in some cases, some people are shamed after they do something and don't want to be called a title or what have you. And that's not anyone's problem but their own. But when it comes to making it a legal issue, there should be no automatic, you're innocent until proven guilty. At least that's how it's supposed to be, like in the American justice system.
Yeah, exactly. It's how it's supposed to be, but it's not how it goes.
Exactly.
We all know that.
If we can change that, I think a lot of these problems would be eliminated. Because obviously, if we could abide by the rules that were put in place for the justice system and tweak some of the ones that aren't as clear, we could definitely make this not a problem anymore for anyone. Like, there wouldn't be any false accusations, because if you don't essentially have any, it's such a frustrating issue, because there I'm gonna say there are women that do make false accusations. There are, and this is it's terrible. It's disgusting, and the person should be fined and do jail time for making such an egregious offense to someone else's freedom. Like, that's unacceptable. You don't do things like that. But at the same time, you don't dismiss when someone says that they've been assaulted either. You do follow up with an investigation, and you do rule out all possible options. And then you determine whether or not a person is guilty or innocent based on the evidence that has been provided. So I don't think that people who claim to be assaulted should be disregarded based on previous accounts of people being falsely accused, because not everybody does that, and we should treat each situation as an individual event. But at the same time, false accusations shouldn't happen, just on a moral standpoint, that you're jeopardizing someone's life. And you need to understand the repercussions that come along. Like, there should be repercussions for a false accusation. I really do think that to deter people from trying that, it's not right, and it shouldn't happen. But unfortunately it does. And until we can fix how we go about weeding out these people, this is just something that we have to be weary of.
What happens to the people that don't get fucking headliners? What happens to the people that just get legitimately abused in the middle of the street and then get nothing out of it because they are quote-unquote nobodies? Because the only headliners and stuff like that are getting some fucking, exposure are bands like Decapitated or Cristiano Ronaldo, and it's like, come on, Like, again, this is such a fucked up topic, because it reverts to women can manipulate men easily, super fucking easily. And men can also manipulate women by using strength. This, again, it goes back to the topic that we talked, I think it was like second or third episode, where we were discussing, getting beat up by women that are bodybuilders and stuff like that. But biologically, women are weaker than men. It's a biological thing. Now, but they have traits and assets, that are very easy to use to manipulate men. So here's a fucked up scenario. A woman comes to me, right? And has the intentions of actually having intercourse, right? And we do it. But she goes like, I like it rough. And I do that because I want to please her. I want to make things good. And then she's gonna blame me for being rough. So who's on the wrong here? And who's on the right?
Well, usually in cases like that, or at least from what I know, you're supposed to like stop and ask like specifically what they want or if they're okay or if things are too much for them.
Again, you're gonna need a fucking form before you have sex. What do you consent to?
I guess it's hard if you're
do you
talking
hereby acknowledge that you are consenting and you need a fucking signature? Like, come on, dude, fucking shit. This is the stupidity of internet empowering people that should never get power. This is fucking topics that are like completely fucking ridiculous are being empowered by the internet, and it gets all over the place, and people know about this, and people abuse these kind of things, and it's so fucking stupid, man. So stupid.
I mean, I guess it's hard to find a balance, especially if you're talking about doing something with like someone you don't know as well. I mean, I don't know.
No, I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
From what I understand, there's seldom much communication when it comes to situations like that. When you're having like a random encounter, it would be encouraged to have those conversations, but many people get wrapped up in the passion and they're kind of like, no, this is what it is. I'm here for this and this is what's going to happen. But that leaves the door open for all kinds of things to go wrong. Like, you don't know anything about this person. You don't know if they have an STD. You don't know if they are crazy. Like, you don't know anything about this person, and you're choosing to engage them in an act that's potentially intimate. And so the door is open now. I mean, what happens after that is kind of what is determined by the two individuals. Not to say that it's right. Again, no one should take advantage of anyone. Never. Like, it's never acceptable to take advantage of someone else. But because of the nature...
thing here, for example, is that this is an unlikely scenario, let's be honest. But a thing here, imagine a woman just completely rapes me. Like, just completely rapes me. And I'm, I could stop it, but it's such a fucking weird shit to even talk about this, even coming out of my mouth. But, okay. So I'm raped by a woman, right? And she just, like, she fucking... Okay, I can't do shit because she uses chloroform and she fucking makes me unconscious and she ties me up and shit like that. She gets help from some other people to lift me up and stuff like that because I need a fucking crane to be lifted up. But, yeah, so I basically can't do shit about it because I'm unconscious, etc., etc. And... then I go to the police or whatever, and I just go like, I was raped by a female. What do you think happens?
And that is the problem with society, is that people believe
exactly.
that's not.
You know what happens?
They laugh.
I get what you got fucking.
And that's
dudes don't get raped.
Like, that's disgusting because yes, they do. Anyone can be raped. Anyone, and this is what I wish people would acknowledge. Rape is not exclusive to women. Rape is not exclusive to children. Rape is not exclusive to weaker people, sick people, or old people. Rape is rape. It's when you do not consent to something and someone takes advantage of you. So, in a sexual manner. So, let's be specific, a sexual manner. Like, that's, if you don't have the capacity to say no to something and you are not a consenting person, that's rape. So, I mean, it's like, this is what people don't seem to understand. Yes, men can be raped too. Like, you can be raped by your spouse. You can be raped by a family member. You can be raped. And it happens. So the sooner we understand what rape is and how far the reach extends to people, the more likely we are to accept when people tell us things like this, and more readily we are able to provide that assistance and support that they need. Again, people lie. This is something that happens, yes, but you should never dismiss someone when they tell you something like that. Like, it should always be investigated. Treat it as if it's a life-threatening situation, because it could potentially be that. Like, it's ugh.
That's why I like how the schools are now educating people. I don't know if it's everywhere in the United States, but I know in California they have like a K through 12 like video thing that we do each year, where we have like different levels starting from like kindergarten going up to senior year of high school, and it talks about sexual assault, it talks about consent, and it talks about being safe, and each like different level is talking about it in a way that the people who are watching it will understand. So I really like how we're starting to implement, you know, these ideas of staying safe and stuff, and we're making it not a taboo subject to talk about anymore, because it shouldn't be. Being safe shouldn't be
really
something.
Shouldn't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I appreciate that. Like, that's good. That's a start, and I think it should start young too, because society's belief is that, like, if we make people aware that this is a possibility, then we can act on it sooner, or people could identify it and potentially protect themselves against it. Like, I can't tell you how many horrible situations, like, I've encountered or heard of, where a child didn't recognize that they were being sexually assaulted by a family member or someone that they trusted. They just thought that it was a game, or they thought that it was something that everyone was doing, until it was brought up, and then they were ashamed. Because people were like, no, that's wrong, that's disgusting, oh my God. And then they didn't want to tell anyone, because they don't want to be looked at.
That's why it needs to be talked about.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Everyone should be educated on stuff like that. And I saw the video that they showed my sister. She's a first grader right now. And by no means, because I know a lot of people had issues with it, because they're like, how could you show a child something like that? Like, it will traumatize them for life. They're never going to trust anyone. But I saw it, and it was easy to understand. It wasn't graphic. And I really thought it got the point across of teaching. And I know that one focused more on stranger danger and, like, you know, the safe zones, is what they called it, where people should be touching you, you know? Like a friendly hug.
Dude, we had so many things back in the day teaching stuff like that to us. I'm sure Misnomer can agree with me on this. Like,
I can.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't necessarily like boom straight in your face or super direct. And I'm not talking about these subjects. I'm talking about like stuff that could possibly traumatize a child with like graphic stuff. I'm not talking about specifically sexual things. Because, yes, I agree with that. That was always taboo back in the 90s and early 2000s, and only recently did it start becoming something more normal. However, I don't know how it is good either, because kids nowadays don't fuck with meaning. It's true. I've seen kids just like fucking, they go with a girl one day, the next day they're with another one, the next day they're with another one, the next day with another one. It's like, really, dude? Come on, man. Fucking hell. So, I don't know how good it is to be having this all over the fucking place and kids knowing about this shit from a young age, but yeah, I mean, we've always had like things, you can make things, explain something, and be very direct or very specific and still make it. You just have to be creative and stuff, but you can still make it in such a way that it will not traumatize a child.
Oh yeah, like there are a lot of so for example, like, not really, I guess it could be considered trauma. There's actually a Steven Universe episode concerning like guilt and anxiety about situations, and it was called Mindful Education, and it was basically the main character Steven and his friend Connie were supposed to be training with like Steven's caregivers, Pearl and everything, and they kind of do like this gem fusion thing where they become the same person so that they can fight better, but they have to be in sync in order to do that.
Dragon Ball much?
Huh? What'd you say?
Dragon Ball much?
I don't know, I guess. But basically, they have to be in sync mentally. But Connie was having a lot of issues because at school, she was learning self-defense with the gems, but at school, she accidentally flipped this kid on reflex and broke his arm, and she felt terrible about it. And it basically traumatized her because she didn't know, like, she thought she was a bad person and a weapon and didn't know how to talk about it. So one of the characters, Garnet, came to her and they sang like a little song and had this one-on-one moment talking about how it's okay to feel bad, but you have the support of your friends to kind of help you through these moments where you get overwhelmed with anxiety and like the thoughts that you can't control. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to talk about things that bother you, and you do have support from your friends and family. And like, I actually teared up watching that video because I realized a lot of kids don't have that, or they're exposed to it in a way that it doesn't ingrain itself that way to them. So it was just, I think every child and adult should watch that particular video called Mindful Education, because it gives you a new perspective on how to approach situations that are potentially traumatizing and very emotional.
Also, the song from that episode is really good. Steven Universe is really interesting. I really enjoy how they're able to put in serious topics in a way that a child would be able to understand and it wouldn't be traumatizing. Like there was this one episode, sorry for spoilers, where one of the bad characters, I think it was
Jasper?
Jasper, yeah. Forces,
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So she would force another character to fuse with her in order for them to become a powerful gem fusion and like break stuff. And the kind of main point of the episode was Lapis doesn't have to fuse with Jasper if she doesn't want to. And like one of the main things that stuck with me is when Jasper told Lapis, like, I feel stronger when I'm in control of you. And I think it really just kind of, it was interesting. Like I don't know how to explain it, but
I know exactly what
put in like the idea of consent like that in a way that a child would understand is like crazy. Like the whole writing team there is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. And that was also an episode concerning toxic relationships as well.
Toxic relationships, yeah.
It was awesome how they highlighted that even though Lapis was kind of forced into the situation with Jasper was also a victim in that Lapis kind of kept her with her. So when she finally escaped, she had like kind of a Stockholm syndrome in a way. So she's like, you held me against my will, but I eventually learned to like it, and I loved how we were together. Even though it was bad for me, and even though it made me feel weak and powerless, I felt powerful when we were together, and now I can't function without you. So I want to be with you again. And Lapis is like, that's not good. Like, we're not good for each other, and we can't be together that way. So leave me alone. So it was like, it was great in how they portrayed that. It may be confusing if people don't know the context of it, but it was still something that's highly relatable for all ages.
Very good show, very powerful show. And very sad. I've cried a lot while watching it.
Oh, me too. I didn't think like a cartoon could really move me to tears like that, but it touches on some really sensitive topics. And I enjoy that it's becoming such a mainstream show. I love it. So Apollyon, if you get the chance, it might be a little bubbly or a little, bright and happy in the beginning, but that stuff takes some deep turns, man.
Oh, yeah. It's real sad.
Yeah, I've watched it. I'm not interested.
Fine. Be that way.
I'd rather watch Gumball, honestly.
Oh, Gumball's great.
Really good, yeah.
I like Gumball too. But that's more of like breaking the fourth wall. Like it's just bringing
Exactly.
It's a great show.
Exactly.
Also.
There's a whole deal on the whole episode with like planets singing and shit, and it's basically an upbeat song where they're talking about like we're fucking insignificant. We don't matter. Like you're nothing, humans. It's like it's such an upbeat song for a kid. They're gonna listen to that and they're gonna remember the lyrics and sing it. But a grown up listens to that, is like, shit, man. Yeah, it's right.
You know what other show was really weird?
Mm-hmm.
It's Teen Titans Go. Like at first I was like, I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not gonna support it. Like nothing's gonna be better than the original Teen Titans. And then like I watched an episode and it was talking about tax fraud tax refunds and pyramid schemes, and that's what the whole episode was about. And they were talking about the impact of American currency and stuff, and like
I remember that one.
And then they had a whole episode where they were talking about thigh exercises and how like Raven has like the nicest thighs and calves in like the universe, and how like doing exercise. It's such a weird show. It's like the randomest things ever.
Oh my god! There was also a show about how Beast Boy was vegetarian and Cyborg was, he loves to eat meat.
Didn't you dislike the animation?
Yes,
Misnomer?
I still hate the animation.
I don't like the animation for it.
Die-hard original, I'm talking like Cartoon Network's original Teen Titans fan. I love that one. But when I saw the animation for Teen Titans Go, I was like, what the hell is this shit? But then I started watching it, and this it's just a whole bunch of fillers, but they make sense because they touch on actual concepts and situations. So I catch myself laughing at some of the jokes. I'm like, why? What the hell is this? Oh my god.
An episode they had like T-Pain as like a guest star on the episode. It was wild.
Oh gosh.
Oh my god, it's such a But yeah, basically I enjoy some of the shows TV for kids to teach them different like adult lessons or lessons about growing up and coming of age. And I just wish that some of these shows were more mainstream for all children to enjoy, because that information is not widely distributed.
I kind of disagree with that. I disagree. I don't think kids get anything from that. Like, they might absorb some information, but they're just watching cartoons because it's cartoons. It's funny, it's fun, and it's colorful and stuff like that. They don't watch it for a deeper meaning.
Oh no, of course not.
I mean,
you plant the
for
seed.
example, what was it? It was the bird that was really fast with the fox or whatever.
Huh?
Wait, like Wile E. Coyote and like...
Oh, yeah. The Roadrunner.
All the time.
Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote.
Right. That shit had plenty of episodes and things that were meaningful, that nowadays as a 27-year-old guy I understand, but back in the days I didn't give a fuck about that. I didn't give a fuck. I was watching because it was funny and it was colorful. It's like... I can understand to a certain extent, but and especially because kids nowadays are so stupidified by the internet and everything. It's even gonna be worse. I don't know.
I think it's more about just planting the seed. They may not understand it, but at least if they have some semblance.
I think parents need to fucking educate their goddamn children. If you fucking make them, at least make them fucking understand shit.
Oh, no, I completely agree with that. Your parents are your first teachers. I 100% agree with that.
I saw a video by a guy who's a bus driver, a school bus driver in Brazil, and he's literally talking to the camera going you have to educate your kids. It's getting worse and worse and worse every day. They don't respect us. They don't respect teachers. It's fucking a shit show. And it's yeah, where the fuck are the parents giving the education, huh? Teachers are supposed to give an education, but it's supposed to be a specific type of education. History, maths, languages, stuff like that. They're not supposed to fucking educate the kids that others produced. Come on, dude. If you're a fucking parent, better fucking raise your kids.
I mean, that's the goal. That is the goal as a parent. At least ideally. I'm going to say ideally because...
Should be.
Woo-wee. There are some, just like you mentioned before, Dice, about free parenting or free-range parenting. I don't understand how some people become parents. How do you sire children and then let them just roam around this world the way it is?
I think that's different. I think there's one thing, there's a difference between letting kids explore and learn by themselves and just letting kids not know anything by you. There's one, I think it's different. I think free-range parenting, if done right, is good because kids can explore and learn by themselves certain things that they have to learn by themselves. But there are the situations that you as a parent, you have to give them the knowledge. You have to provide them with the knowledge. It's just a give. It's it's necessary. Otherwise, they're just gonna, like, you have to teach your kid not to fucking put their grab a fork and fucking shove that shit in the plug. But they want to do it. They want to go for that shit. Like, it's like, you have to tell them it's not good. You don't let them, like a fucking baby, shove a fork inside a plug and die electrocuted. You have to tell them, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean. There's certain aspects of education that you have to give in order for your kid to grow a decent human being. Then there's other things that you can, like, for example, parents nowadays are so fucking overprotective. It's like, no, stay home, play your computer, don't go outside. It's cold, you could get a cold, and fucking let them get a cold. Let them build a fucking immune system. Otherwise, they're gonna get a cold, and it's gonna be the worst cold of their fucking lives.
Oh my god. So wait, I was just looking up this woman by the name of Lenore Skenazy. And she has this website called Free Range Kids: How to Raise Safe, Self-Reliant Children Without Going Nuts with Worry. And it's basically supposed to be the fighting the belief that our children are in constant danger from creeps, kidnapping, germs, grades, flashers, frustration, failure, baby snatchers, bugs, bullies, men, sleepovers, and or the perils of non-organic rape. Like, what the hell? Like, I'm reading through this, and she's like, what is free range kids? And it's a common sense approach to parenting in these overprotective times. So she's apparently been dubbed America's worst mom by the media. And she's saying, like, in 2008, she let her 9-year-old ride the subway by himself. And he was asking the parents, like, to take him to different places and then let him find his way home by himself. And the parents let him do that. So, like, what the hell? They're like, our boy knows how to read a map. He speaks the language, and we're New Yorkers. We're on the subway all the time. That's how it came to be that one sunny Sunday after lunch at McDonald's, I took him into Bloomingdale's and left him in the handbag department. I didn't leave him unprepared, of course. I gave him a map, a Metro card, quarters for the phone, and $20 for emergencies. Bloomingdale's sits on top of the subway station at our local line, and it's always crowded with shoppers. I believed he'd be safe. I believed he could figure out his way. And if he needed to ask someone for directions, which it turns out he did, I even believed the person would not think, gee, I was about to go home with a nice new Bloomingdale's shirt, but now I think I'll abduct this adorable child instead. Long story short, he got home about 45 minutes later, ecstatic with independence. I wrote a little column about his adventure, and 2 days later, I was on the Today Show, NPR, MSNBC, and Fox News defending myself as not America's worst mom. And I'm like, what? So okay.
But I can see her side.
I can too.
Listen, if you understand that if you know the region and the place where your child is, I think it's okay to let them be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course, you don't go to a place that you have no idea how it is, how dangerous it could be, the type of people that are around there. And, in that scenario, you don't let your kid just fucking be. Of course not, because you don't know what it is. You have no idea. But if you know the place where the kid is, and you just let them play and you let them explore and discover things on their own, it's like, it's better. Fuck, most kids nowadays, if you let them, and when I say kids, it's like over the age of 18, if you let them in the middle of the forest, they have no fucking idea what to do. They're gonna die in 2 days because they cannot provide themselves with food, they cannot provide themselves with shelter, they cannot provide themselves with warmth. It's like they're a bunch of fucking dumbasses. I'm sorry, Dice. You're an intelligent girl. I think you are intelligent, but if you were in the middle of the fucking forest, you would die within 2 days. I can guarantee it. You are not prepared for a life outside of the city.
On how to survive in the forest, so I think I'm prepared. Like, I know how to do fish traps and stuff. It's actually really cool.
95% of those videos are a bunch of fucking bullshit.
I was thinking if I ever got stuck in the forest with friends, I didn't want to look dumb and not know how to do anything. So I was like, I might as well just look up how to do snares and stuff. So now I know how to do that, I guess.
I mean, so at least she's proactive. See, I enjoy the fact that she took the initiative to actually research to some degree what would be necessary. Like, I've been camping since I was a kid, so
but
I
it's
know
not
how
for
to...
the right reasons, though. As she just said, she didn't want to look dumb in the middle of her friends.
I'm gonna look so cool. I'm gonna be
hey.
so bougie and making snare traps. Like, I'm gonna look real cool, and I'm gonna be able to eat food. So it's
That's
like,
not the right reason.
I mean, but
in a matter of life and death, no one gives a fuck if you're cool.
Yeah, well, see, at the end of the day, she's the only one with those set of skills. It doesn't matter how she got them. She still has the skill.
How do you know that? Well, how do you know if other kids typically went camping and stuff like that and were taught in, like, firsthand how to survive certain situations?
Yeah, the more the merrier. So Dice can add her bit of knowledge to the survival situation, and so can they. They work together.
Stop
and they
enabling women. Stop allowing that it's cool to be cool. It's not that cool if you're in a life and death fucking scenario.
Oh, of course
You
not.
need to know that the
act
world
like
is
you
a
don't
fucked
care.
up place if
And
you
you don't
don't
be
know
like,
the
"Nope."
right skills.
This is true. No, I completely agree with that. When it comes to survival,
We need to stop allowing this mentality that, oh, you participated, here's a fucking medal. No, you lost. You don't deserve shit. Get better. Next year, participate, and you might win something. And if you never win anything, just fucking move on. Stop enabling that fucking shit, man. It's so annoying. Stop telling kids, like, for example, kids playing video games, it's okay, we won. Somebody made the fucking stupidest mistake ever, and they could cost the fucking game. It's okay, we got the point, we got the checkpoint. It's alright, there's no need for drama or anything. We got the point. No, fucking let them know that they made a fucking mistake so that next time, maybe they know that they shouldn't be making that same fucking mistake. Holy shit, it fucking bugs me out really badly. Listen, stop enabling this fucking type of behavior by going, it's okay because we can still do it. Holy shit, dude. God damn it. Every time I fucking messed up or some shit like that in my life, I was told so, and I said, listen, don't fucking do this ever again because it's just gonna make things worse. And it's just like, and every time I tried something that I could not get to it, I just fucking, listen, there's nothing to come out of this, so I'm just going to give up. It's pretty simple. It's like, if you have, there are certain things that you can do because it's basically an obtained skill over time with practice and shit, because practice makes perfect. But there are a lot of things, it's just, you are not cut out for, and you should better just fucking give up. It's like a band that's fucking horrible, that there's no chemistry between those 4 or 5 people. No chemistry whatsoever. But they keep trying, they keep trying. It's like, dude, just fucking give up. Your chemistry is horrible, you don't make good music. Just stop already. Stop. And then there's these fucking idiots, because they know that they're not really that good, they still give them fucking concerts to play in, and they still keep on the fucking band going. But they should just fucking stop. People should just say, your music is complete fucking dog shit, and you should just fucking stop. Try to find other people to do the band with, and maybe you're gonna actually make good music, but now, as it is, it's fucking trash. So stop it.
I mean, as long as they're happy doing what they want, like,
oh my fucking god,
do them,
I knew it was coming.
as long as they're fucking
guess,
happy. It's just a stupid fucking happiness. It's not happiness in reality. You're not happy if you trash. Like, how can you be happy being trashed?
It's just like,
it's just enabling. It's just enabling over and over and over and over again. Stop fucking enabling. It's not good. It's not healthy.
I mean, it's probably not that healthy to be so negative either.
It's not being negative, it's just being realistic. It's like, I'm happy being this, so why don't you fucking cut me some slack?
So that's where the different perspectives come into play. So we've got realist, we've got idealist, we've got nihilist, we've got all kinds, we've got pessimist, optimist, we've got all kinds of perspectives. But at the end of the day, people are just going to live their lives the way they want to.
Listen, there is pessimist and there is optimist and whatever the fuck. I understand that. But there are certain things that need to be said, and there are certain things that need to be changed. Otherwise, we're just gonna let the prices... We currently have the fucking most expensive fuel in Europe. And that's stupid. Are we doing anything to change that? No, we just let it happen, as long as people are happy. What the fuck, dude? What the fuck? That's
Well,
not the way to live life. We need to change things. We need to fucking do things for the better. For the betterment of mankind. And if we don't say things, we don't try to change it, it's never going to happen. And everybody's just going to be happy being fucking ridiculously stupid and, you know, so unhealthy and so... Fucking hell, man. We need to do something about it.
You're trying to compare human happiness to gas prices. I think you should use a different analogy.
Are you happy coming at... Of course not. You're 18 years old. You have no idea of responsibility. But are you happy getting a fucking income every month and having half of it go away because of the fucking fuel prices? I don't think so. You just worked for a month, and now half of your money goes to fucking waste because of the price of the fuel.
That's why you gotta go green.
That jumps right into politics. But guys, I have a topic.
Yes.
Listen. So, I want to tell you a joke, and you better laugh at it, because this is one of my favorite jokes. So listen up. There was a man who walked into a pet store because he had the interest of purchasing an interesting pet. He asked the salesman, hey, do you got any cool pets for sale or something? And the guy says, well, I mean, I got this talking centipede. I mean, if you want it. So the guy thought for a minute and he said, why the hell not? Sure, I'll take the talking centipede. So he takes the centipede home and sits it down on the couch. He looks at it and says, you know what? Let's give it a try. He leans over and asks, hey, you want to go get some ice cream with me? The centipede doesn't reply. The guy thinks to himself, well, maybe he didn't hear me. Let me try again. So he leans forward and says, hey, do you want to get some ice cream with me? Just a little louder. The centipede doesn't say anything again. Now, the man is starting to get a little irritated because he thinks he's been gypped by the sales owner at the pet shop. So then he leans forward closer and yells, hey, do you want to get some ice cream with me? And the centipede yells back, I heard you the first time I was putting on my shoes.
Thank God.
Oh, that's good. That's funny.
Come on, that's hilarious.
Hold on.
I heard you the first time. I was just putting on my shoes.
Because he's got like 100
That's like 100. Oh, that's crazy.
So I always picture the centipede looking up at him and nodding and then going back to tying his shoes, but the guy can't see it. So he just keeps getting mad. Oh, and that, my friends, my favorite jokes. It was told to me by a nun.
Oh gosh, I can see why. It's...
All right, I feel better.
Live, Trinidad and Tobago. What you know?
THURE.
Yeah, this is not it. Well, I can't find laughter, but I didn't find it funny.
Wait, you didn't like my joke? It was great. The greatest joke ever. Okay, if you don't think my joke's funny, tell me a different joke.
My life.
Oh my god. No, tell me a real joke.
Let's see.
Your life.
I'm looking at a bunch of Halloween jokes right now.
All right, no, I like that. Yes. Come on, guys.
Hey, why are ghosts so bad at lying?
Why?
Because you can see right through them.
Say again?
Because you can see right through them.
See, puns are the best. I love puns because there takes like a certain level of intelligence to appreciate a play on words.
It annoys me though how people get puns mixed up with dad jokes. Like how someone's a pun and they're like, dad joke, dad, and they're like, no, that's not a dad joke.
I need y'all to get it right. Dad jokes are just dad jokes. I'm hungry. Nice to meet you, hungry. I'm dad. Like, okay, that's all right. That's just really annoying. Stop.
And I'm so excited for Halloween. I'm like counting down the days.
Oh,
I'm
me too.
real excited.
Me too. I am so ready. I don't have my costume yet, though, but I know what I'm going to be. And I think I mentioned it before.
I need to get my costume too. I'm on Amazon Prime it.
Yes. And I'm very sad, Apollyon, that you guys don't celebrate Halloween over there for real.
No, we do. We just don't do it in a crazy way like you do.
That's what I mean. You guys are like cool about it. You're like, yeah, we're gonna dress up and go hang out and, just spend some time. No. You go bar crawling. You have Halloween costumes. You go trick or treat.
My life is Halloween every single day. I'm always into dark, spooky shit. Why should I care about one single day?
That is actually very true. You are one of the exceptions. Yes. That's true. Actually, yeah, because I watch scary movies and stuff all the time. But I just choose the day Halloween to engage other people in it. I'm like, come on, guys, show me your best scary face.
But okay, you want to hear some jokes from me?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how many dead babies does it take to paint a wall?
Oh my god.
Depends on how hard you throw them.
Oh, jeez. What the hell? Oh my.
What do you call a cheap circumcision?
What?
A rip-off. What do you call a white man marrying the woman of his dreams?
What?
Incest.
Oh, what the hell? Who writes these
People
jokes?
are like trees. They fall when you hit them multiple times with an axe.
Oh my goodness. Well, I think I
Isn't
would.
that a good Halloween joke? Come on, dude.
All right.
What is it called when an illegal immigrant fights a pedophile?
What?
Alien versus Predator.
That one's funny. I like that one.
What is Minecraft?
What?
Hitler's second lesser known book about his love of knitting.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I get that
What's
one.
the difference between an ISIS training camp and a school?
What?
Don't ask me, I just fly the drone.
Oh. No. Oh.
What if we got like the Bloods and the Crips to fight ISIS?
That would be an epic. Like, can we do that? Because I remember when ISIS became a really big thing and everybody was talking
What
about
happened
it.
to
Now
ISIS? No one's talking about it now. Where'd they go?
I don't know. What? Did you find a funny one?
That is so fucked up.
What?
What do Spanish and anal sex have in common?
Oh my god.
Oh.
What?
If you're forced to have it as a kid, you'll hate it as an adult.
Oh.
Oh man, I'm gonna go to hell and I'm gonna run that shit. Hell yeah. Alright, anyways, yep, 4 minutes to, 10 p.m. for me. I'm not dead yet. There's apparently a hurricane going through, but it's changing trajectories. Anyways, yeah. Anything you have to say for the end of this podcast to you, Roses?
Go vote and happy almost Halloween.
Yes, I had
Almost.
fun. I'm glad that some people enjoyed my silly joke, and I look forward to next week's episode.
Absolutely, next week is going to be the part 3 of the Halloween special, and don't forget that on the part 4 it's going to be even more interesting, so make sure that you will be around.
We've got
So now, say your goodbyes.
Farewell, everyone. We will see you in the next episode and prepare yourself for Halloween Part 4.